In a city that never sleeps, dreams are built from nothing and turned into empires. Welcome to the Empire State of Mind podcast, where entrepreneurs rise. Hey, everybody. How's everyone doing? I hope that you guys are doing well. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Empire State of Mind. Today in the room is Mr. Ralph Lamont Sledge.
What up? What up?
He is the reason why I even started this podcast. He held me accountable. He gave me a deadline, and here we are. So thank you, Ralph, first and foremost, for, putting me, holding me accountable to doing this. And, looking back, I think it was last year, towards the end of last year, you had told me like, okay, you have all these ideas, but set a date. And I was like, so I did record my first episode in November, and then I recently launched it in March. So it took me all that time. So we're going to talk about a lot of great things. We're going to talk about our evolution, our personal development, and dive into all your beautiful work that you're doing. Super proud of you. So thank you, Ralph, for joining me. So excited. So Ralph is the author of The Foundations of Relationships. So grab your copy. It's at Amazon, right?
It's on Amazon.
Okay. And he's also growing into the coaching industry. And so I know that you're transitioning and you call yourself a growth companion, which I thought was cute. And so you're doing a lot of amazing things. And you also have a podcast called Not Your Average Fairy Tale with your wife, Candace. So I would highly recommend that you guys check out that podcast. It really highlights like your marriage, relationships, and kids, and navigating life through all those moving parts, right?
And you can find that on all streaming platforms, but it basically just chronicles our relationship from the start, how we met, the dynamics of that, how, the relationship has grown over the course of the years. And it just gives a real deep dive into, who we are and what we became once we became one.
Wow. Yeah. And how long you been married? Okay, that's amazing. And how many kids you have?
We have 3 kids, 14, 10, and 8.
Bless your heart. I'm over here, with the 2, and I'm like, whew, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations on everything you've done. So let's get into how we met. So I met Ralph in the DG Mindset community. Shout out to Derek Grant, who is a life coach. He made this happen for us. We connected and, we built a community around it. At some point, we were the DG Mindset community for some time. And now Derek Grant has transitioned into the Academy of Growth. And so that's in school. Yes. And so you can check it out. I'm a part of it. He's currently doing manifestation code, which is amazing. So shout out to DG.
It's always
And so, yeah, like we had like amazing times, like sharing our journey. And, there's been times that I cried and, we healed together. And it's just been a special soul family that we developed. And Ralph actually was one of, the people that branched off and wanted to create like a sacred space and time for us to really connect and dive in to our wounds and all the things that we don't normally talk about in a group setting, but he wanted to create a small intimate setting, and he called it the open gym. Do you guys still do that? Do you still do that?
we don't. So
Okay.
just like with DG's community, it's a space for people to grow, but once you grow, it's time to move on, right? Like at some point, your kids are going to be 18, 19, 20, and it's going to be time for them to leave the nest, right? And so that's in essence, that's the point that I got to. um, and where I started to feel like there was an expansion that needed to happen. And so I needed to leave that community to build something of my own, right? And so
Right.
I started that, and then, you know, like-minded people getting together and building off one another. We called it the gym because we literally went in there and worked out our emotions, right? Worked through our problems, bounced ideas off of each other. And that ultimately into ran its course as well, right? We all grew from that, and it was time for everybody to move on to the next chapter.
I know. Yeah. It was like, yeah, I don't like change. I realize that, but the more I lean into the unknown, like you start to realize that there's so much more greater than what you imagine. And
Yeah,
I'm
unknown.
literally seeing it. I'm literally seeing it. I was like, okay, I was scared and I was thinking, but that's based on our past,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
experiences and wounds, right? All right. So let's dive into the book. Because
let's
this
go.
is like it's like a little, like a book that you can carry with you, like at all times, right? Like it's
That was
practical
oh,
tools. Yeah. Yeah. Like you can carry it with you and just kind of refresh your memory as you read through it. You could reread it again. So I'm going to highlight a few things that really stood out to me. And so it was a great one. I can't wait till you have another one. And I'm sure you're probably working on it. But
right.
knowing yourself. So you start out with the book talking about knowing yourself. And I
Yeah,
think when it comes to relationships, the best relationship you can have is with yourself, right? So you
yes,
have to know thyself. And so can you talk a little bit about that and like what that looked like for you as
yeah.
you started this journey?
Well, that again, that it's the first chapter because it's the most important thing, right? And again, this book was birthed out of my marriage, right? Me understanding that I've learned so much about myself in my marriage, and it taught me and it continues to teach me what I've done wrong previously, or what I could have changed, or what I did, what I might have done that was great in the past, right? But it's a culmination of all of my relationships wrapped into this one book. Um, and knowing yourself is very important in a relationship, right? Because if you can come into the relationship understanding who you are fully, then you know how you're going to show up. You know what you bring to the table, right? And so you can be upfront, open, and honest with a partner, right? And knowing yourself upfront also helps you to not spend the bulk of your relationship years trying to figure yourself out, right? And that's what we do a lot of times. Like we get in relationships not knowing ourselves. We expect this partner to come in and fill in our gaps, fill in our holes, tell us about ourselves, make us better, right? And we could have had 15 years of great love and relationship, but instead I'm spending this 15 years trying to figure out who I am, right? And that's not fair to a partner, right? Because they gotta sit with us through the shadows, right? And that's
And
not
they
all
got to figure out themselves
right,
too.
exactly. And that's not always fun, right? And so now that's why my wife and I's relationship is so great at the moment because we've done the whole like, no, I gotta figure out who I am. And you have to figure out who you are. And so now we can't commune into the union that we are because I don't know who I am yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now that we both know our wounds, our trauma, all of these things, our strengths, our weaknesses, now we can move in unison and have this relationship that is just blossoming, right? Because we're no longer in the mud of trying to figure ourselves out and figure each other out. I mean, you never stop finding out who your partner is, right? Because we're all going to keep growing, right? We're going to wake up tomorrow different people, right? But I'd rather not know 1 day worth of myself than 4 decades worth, right? Trying to go back and learn 4 decades of why I'm showing up the way I am is more time consuming than just figuring out who I am today that was different than yesterday.
And that's what I try to, as you know, recently I've been divorced. Well, not recently, but 2 years now, and I've been single. But even before getting married, I remember thinking like it was a bad thing to be single. And I'm like, now that I'm like post, divorce, I'm like optimize your singleness, like your singlehood. Like that is like the best time to do all the inner work. Like that is the best time to spend more time with yourself, to, let things out, process things, however you process it with the creator, meditating, retreats, whatever. Like you literally get to pour into you at all times.
But here's the
You
kicker.
know,
Here's the kicker though.
yeah,
You can do that alone. Yes, that's the perfect place to do it, but you don't know how you've grown until you get into relationship, right? That you
that
don't
is true.
you're sitting there and you think you got it all figured out, but then when you go out and you start dating again and you realize, "Oh, I haven't really changed at all." Right? And so that's the mirror, right? That's the test. We go out, we get in the field, and other people let us know where we actually are, not where we think we are.
Yeah, that is so accurate because I did recently started dating, and boy, was it a crystal clear mirror with Windex, like the good Windex.
Yeah. The kind of clean where you walk into the glass thinking that it's not there. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And as we talk about like who we are, and I mean, the connection is very authentic, right? And so what I found is that I'm very anxious about a lot of things, right? And that mirror that he provides is like, "Put your ass down, like trust, like let things unfold." It's like not expecting things to be a certain way. And I thought, like you said, I thought I was doing all this healing and, oh, I don't have control issues anymore. And here I am. Somebody put it to my face like, girl, get your ass
Yep. Yep. That a relationship
down.
put the spotlight on you. It will.
Yeah, yeah. So that's been pretty cool. And I think that's the point of relationships, is to be that mirror. And people don't realize that all relationships, whether it's friendship, colleague, romantic, we are here to be mirrors to ourselves so that we could evolve and just become better. So
Even
when you have that mindset, like everything starts to shift. Like rather than reacting to someone that triggered you, a coworker or whoever, look at it as an opportunity to learn, like, why is this person triggering me? Like, what is it about this feeling? Like, where is this coming from? Right. And we don't get to do all those things because we're just quick to react.
right.
So I think that relationships, I think that's the root of it. Like that, the creator, God, put us all here together just to co-create and, expand, and whether it's through adversity or, joy and pleasure, like it's all connected, is all connected.
And
So,
not we just think that our relationship is with people, right? And it's not just that, right? You have a relationship to the couch behind you. You have a relationship to that image behind you, right? That your clothes that you're wearing, the earrings, like we have a relationship to all of these things. The thing about it is that we don't listen to those. We don't listen to those. We think the relationships with people are paramount, right? But if you're quiet enough, if you're still enough, everything is talking to you all of the time because it's all made of the same essence,
right, everything is energy. So,
right?
yeah, yeah. So even the things that we hold on to, like I did like a huge purging of my apartment. And the more that I released, the more it was like I was able to breathe again and invite like new things, new experiences, even new items like in. But
Yeah.
it required me to like let go of, what I wasn't no longer using. And that goes to, for everything, right? Like our emotional, like the things we hold on to. Same in the physical world. Like I got rid of so many things, and I'm starting to be more creative, and it just created like this lightness.
Those things came into your life when you were a certain version of yourself.
Mm.
Right? So the longer that you hold those things, the longer you remain that person who brought those into your life. And that's what the presence of those things were doing.
Mm.
So as soon as you let go of those things, you were able to usher in the new version of yourself because you were no longer in relationship to those old things that were brought in by your older self. So
Right. That's a good point. You always like give me something to think about, even
yeah,
a little deeper. You also talk about like choosing them fully. I love that like
yeah.
title, right? You talk about like when you find love and you find a person that just lights you up and brings you joy and makes you feel expansive, like make a choice and then just go all in. So can you talk to me about that? Because I don't know about you, but well, you haven't been in the dating world, but in the people that are in the dating world, that sounds very scary,
Yeah.
right? Because even if the right person comes in front of them, like, if they haven't worked through their own like wounds and everything,
Mhm.
or they're not self-aware, they can literally like self-sabotage and block that essence of that person coming in and not choosing them fully. So what made you write about that in the book?
Well, I wanted so let me take a step back real quick. This book was written so that my kids would have information leading into them getting in relationships themselves, right? So what I wanted them to understand is that we get confused oftentimes with this laundry list of things that people are supposed to provide for us, right? And we get nervous and think that nobody's out there, right? All the men are trash. All the women just want X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But in the end, when we understand that everybody field is just showing us who we are, right? And we run from that. This person is I don't like the way they dress. I don't like the food that they eat. I don't like the music that they listen to. So we're not compatible. Really, all that's telling you is that you're full of judgment, right? But we can't not we can't. We don't want to point the finger at ourselves instead of the other person. Right, and so we're just thinking that everybody out here, there's nobody for me, I can't find anybody. The real issue is with you, right? Until you get to a point where you understand that nobody is here to make you whole, right? Your responsibility to yourself is to become whole. That way you can love somebody unconditionally, right? You can't love somebody unconditionally if you don't love yourself unconditionally, and that's what dating these dating issues that we're going through, that's what it's just telling people, right? I don't love myself enough to allow this person to be themselves, right?
Right.
Because the thing is, we're all one of one. There's no other Diana Burgos ever anywhere. There will never be another one. And so when I started to think about that, now I look at my wife and I say, I am the only person that will ever get to say that I share a life with this person. Right, this person with this perspective, with this upbringing, with these experiences, with these sets of friends, like there is only this one person that will ever exist, right? And so you think about that. If you had a one of one handbag, like how would you treat that handbag?
I know.
Like
I
I'm
know.
putting it in a bag, and when I'm not, I'm dusting it every day, right? But we don't look at people that way, right?
Yeah.
And so when you think about the dating scene and how it is now and how people are perceiving it, because it's just that, it's a perception. You think it's trash, somebody else might be like, I'm having the best time of my life out here. You know what I mean? But again, it's just that, it's a perception. It lets you know where you are mentally and internally, right? And so once we understand that, now we can go out in the field and think about things differently. Now we can look at this person who we wouldn't have normally been attracted to and say, you know what? He might have a different perspective that he can offer me. He might have a bunch of things that I could learn from him, right? Instead of just saying, I don't like it. It's a weird vibe, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's layers too, right? Because a lot of people are looking at the surface level stuff,
Yeah,
right? But when you connect and find someone that can meet you at your level of depth, right? For
right,
example, it's like that quote, you don't attract who you like or who you prefer, you attract who you are.
right,
And so now I take that as like a measure. Like if I'm connecting with someone, whether it's a friendship, a new colleague, or someone that's interested, whatever, like I look at it like, oh, okay, they're showing me where I am, right?
precisely.
And usually, like lately, if I'm honest, like they pour a lot of love into me and affirmations. And I'm like, at first, I wasn't used to it. I was like, whoa, this is like, I do it to myself,
Yeah,
you know, but now it's mirroring back. Like, okay, you've done the work, Diana. So now it's time to receive.
yeah,
So the more I surrender and let things be and just say thank you, because I always have an issue with like receiving, like I feel like I gotta give something back. Like if you do something nice for me,
Mhm.
I'm always like, oh, how could I repay this person back?
Right.
I'm really quick to like,
Yeah.
and I'm working through that, Ralph. 'Cause I realized that was from childhood, and so now I just say like, "Thank you," and if I wanna give them something in return, I'll say, "Is this coming from like a genuine, I wanna express my love and appreciation to you,
Mhm.
or is this coming from, let me perform and give you something so that you keep liking me?"
Right.
You
Yeah.
see the difference?
Yes,
But if
absolutely.
you're not self-aware of this shit, like, you just go around fucking performing, you're a fucking puppet, like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to curse in this podcast. Like, you're performing, you're reacting, you're not really intentional. And I think that you doing this coaching and this growth companionship for people is going to eliminate all those things, right? So I'm super excited to hear more about it and see you thrive in that space because I think you're perfect for that. Okay, I still have a few more. All
Okay.
right. Real love doesn't come from hiding. I think it was in the same chapter of you talking about choosing people fully.
Right.
So, not hiding, right? Like just showing up as your authentic self and
Yes.
having people meet you where you are
Mhm.
rather than saying, like, do they like me enough?
Right.
You know, it is just all like
Yeah.
an inner standing, right?
Again, it goes back to if you can love yourself and be open to loving who you are at your core, right? Your authentic self, then it's so much easier to love somebody else for who they are, right? Because you're used to that. Right. And
Right.
you can easily tell when somebody doesn't love themselves, right? Because they keep putting themselves in sticky situations. They keep getting into toxic relationships, right? You don't love yourself if you're not putting yourself in loving environments, right? And
Yeah.
so again, it all comes from internal, right? We'll hear that all the time. It becomes cliche, but that's the way it works, right? You can only
Right.
see through the lens that you have on.
Right, right. And we've had a lot of lens in this
Yeah.
last couple of
Yeah,
years. We had to take
for
off
sure.
layers of it.
Yep.
You talk about ultimatums and you said ultimatums is not like do this or else. It's about this is what I need to feel safe,
Mhm.
respected, and loved. And I freaking love that.
Yes. Yeah, again, you said something very important. Are you acting out of fear or are you acting out of love, right? Like it's um again, an environment. Do I want to be is this environment conducive to my growth, to my expansion? If it's not, then I'm sorry, but I can't be here. You know what I mean? But you also have to understand if you're leaving a relationship because you're running from it mirroring you or if it's just not for your greater good, right? And
But I
only
think, yeah, but I also think that most people don't really know what that is, Ralph. Like,
right.
what is for my highest good? Like, they have an idea,
Yeah.
obviously, but, I think it's until you do the healing and, you getting yourself into therapy or just being intentional with your life
Mm.
and pouring into yourself and having an honest conversation, whether it's journaling, just pouring in. Like some people don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So I think if you could speak on like when did it click for you to know like this is what my higher good looks like,
Yeah.
right? Because you can say that. You can say, oh, I want this love, I want this peace, I want this abundance, but like really like being more clear on what that is for you as a person.
Well,
So when did it click for you?
that's why the know yourself chapter is first, right? Because if I know myself, then I understand when something is ushering me into growth, right? Or when something is just like, I'm just staying here because I'm scared to be alone. It was that. It was my meditation time. It was my time alone spent trying to listening to my thoughts, right? Figuring out how those thoughts made me feel. Having my wife tell me about myself. You know what I'm saying? And, but all of those things, and then I started listening to my own language, right? What words am I using, right? Am I speaking towards forward movement? Am I keeping myself in the past? Am I lingering in the future for too long? Right? And I started to realize that what I was doing was so rooted in who I wanted to be that I left myself no room in the present. Right. So the more that I start to seat myself in the present, the more I could understand when something felt good, right? As opposed to, no, I'm tensing up here. That's probably me doing something out of fear, right? And again, the more you can sit with yourself, the more you can start to understand those things about you. Like, what do I like? What do I dislike? Why did I have this thought? Where did that thought come from? Is it mine, or did somebody suggest that to me? Or did somebody in my family give that to me in my upbringing, right? And the more you can spend time with yourself, the more you'll understand I'm really hiding here because I don't want her to tell me who I am for real. You know what I mean? As opposed to, I think this just isn't best for either of us, right? We're keeping each other down. We're not speaking life into each other. We're not taking each other beyond our comfort zones, right? There's a difference there, and it starts with the language. If you go back and you listen to the words that you use, you can tell where you are in those situations.
Right. You mentioned something really, this is like, I underlined it. I don't know if you could see it, but it says, if you want to stay in a place that no longer feels right out of guilt or fear, you are the only one who will have to feel the weight of that choice.
Yes.
I'll repeat it again. If you stay in a place that no longer feels right out of guilt or fear, you are the only one who will feel the weight of that choice. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that exhale emoji?
Yeah. Yeah, because
I was like,
nobody else is feeling that in this situation except for you. Like, for everybody else, everything is perfect. But you know that you don't wanna be there, right? So the longer you wear that mask, you're the only one that's being affected by that. Everybody else is just going about living their lives as normal, right? It's
so
like
it's funny you, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because uh, my ex and I are very amicable and we talk, right? And he, to this day, like he says, I thought everything was perfect. I thought like we were just evolving, we were just figuring things out. And even though I shared how I felt leading up to our separation and then divorce, like, he still was like, I don't know, on my end, I was good. Like,
Mhm.
I had everything, everything was peachy. And I'm like, no, it wasn't, not on my end. I was like, we lived in two different worlds. So I'm going to explore that at some other time, like how that came to be. I thought that was interesting that he said that.
Yeah.
But I also know that there were a lot of layers that he wasn't willing to go into.
Mhm.
And since I was doing the digging and the inner work, like, yeah, I do this because, or I know that I have issues with trust in men to provide for me because, or I'm, just dealing with your inner child, right?
Mhm.
And I felt like because he wasn't doing that, that's where we kind of like went this way because you could only meet someone in the depth that you meet yourself, going back to that. And so I think because he wasn't able to be as vulnerable
Mhm.
with his past and like, because to him everything was fine. Everything, I had a great childhood. I had this. And it wasn't that I was looking for like, oh, let's just trauma bond. It was just I saw like it was a energetic like mix match, right? And I
Mhm.
felt that we were going different places and I was trying to like reconnect us so that we grow together
Right.
because I already saw myself saying like, I got to get out of this limited thinking and scarcity mindset. So I was like that amplifier, right? Like, this is like what we're really going through. You're saying that things are perfect, but we're in a financial like shithole.
Mhm.
We're not growing, we're not evolving, things are not moving. And I like a challenge. I like to evolve. I'm like a chameleon. I don't know. I like to switch it up sometimes. And I just think it's natural for us to evolve. And some people they're okay with staying where they're at
Yeah.
in their comfort, but that just wasn't where I wanted to go.
Right.
I wanted bigger and better things. I didn't know that it was going to unfold the way it did, but here I am now, like even challenging myself with this podcast, like putting myself out there, seeing more of myself, seeing what capabilities I can do, meeting this new version of myself
Mhm.
that, figures things out. Like I didn't know nothing about a podcast or like how to do it, but I put in the work and I figured it out like as I went along.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of like the drive that I'm looking for in someone is like, being innovative, being present, being, you know, letting your light shine no matter what,
Yeah.
figuring that out as we go because nothing's ever perfect. Like
Right.
you wait for the perfect moment, it's never going to happen. So,
Yeah. And
but
that's
I learned,
you're change and your environment has to change, right? And so if he in your environment is not willing to be a part of that change, then he has to be removed from it. Whether you make the decision or not, like he's going to find a way to
Mm,
remove himself from your environment because he can't sustain because he's not willing to change, right? A lot of that happens in relationships too, right? Like you don't have to be the one to break it off, but guess what? It's going to get broke off somehow. It will, right? That's just the universe like responding to who you are, right? I no longer feel like this environment serves me anymore. And so
right,
yeah, stay here. I got to go find my tribe. I got to go find the environment that nurtures who I'm becoming. And if
right.
he's not a part of that, then what can you do, you know?
Naturally falls off. And
Yeah.
I think that was part of the reason why I was able to have an amicable, separation and we still have a good connection. We talk and there's no bitterness, there's no there's a little bit of like confusion and stuff like that. And, there's a grieving process, right?
Yeah.
But overall, I think that I was able to love myself more unconditionally, and
Mhm.
that's pretty hard. I know you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Loving yourself unconditionally and seeing him that way as well and wanting the best for both of us. So
Yeah.
this was bigger than my decision to end it, right?
Mm.
This was like for our better, higher version of ourselves. Like he gets to be, himself more and figure out his path. I get to evolve and do all the things I want to do. And,
Yeah, and it's
you
it's
know,
it's not that I don't love you, but I can't take you where I'm going. You
right,
can't
right.
come with
I
me.
want I want to, like,
Yeah,
I want
right.
you to come, but you
Yeah.
ain't you ain't got a
You
passport.
gotta want to. You gotta wanna come with me, and if not, then you'll be happy in your comfort.
Right, right. So yeah, I'll do another segment on that where you'll coach me through, probably something, I don't know, profound that I don't want to talk about. I got the tissue box ready because sometimes
Right.
Ralph will make you cry, okay? Sometimes he'll take you there. So you also know, so that brings me to my last one. You have a chapter called learning from them,
Mm,
learning from them.
mhm.
So we pretty much covered like we learn from each other. And so people are here to teach us
And
about
that
ourselves.
should be ultimately your main goal, right? I'm gonna go out and find out what I mean, there's billions of people in the world, right? Who all have different perspectives, who all have different knowledge, who can all impart wisdom upon you, right? But you just gotta be open. You can't just go outside and say, "Oh, I'm just going to find the people that do the things that I like to do, and I'm gonna be with them forever and expect to grow out of that." No, growing, like we talked in the beginning, full circle moment is when you come into contact with the unknown, right? Which is why it's feared because nobody knows it and it's uncomfortable. But guess what? When you experience that environment or that thing 2 or 3 times, now you're not tripping about it. You don't fear it anymore. You don't look at it as a chore, as a task. Now you start to find comfort in it, right? Your nervous system adjusts to it, right? We learn, and now I can take that information and wake up tomorrow and I'm a different person. I've grown, right? And so the more we can go out and meet people who are not like us, right? The more information that we can add to for our expansion and for our growth, right? And so everybody you walk by is intentionally there for something. We don't know what that is, right? You have to go interact with the people to figure out what that is. But every time you pass by somebody or see somebody that you don't know, it's an opportunity for you to learn something, right? And we got to start looking at it like that instead of looking at people like they're our enemies, right?
Right, right.
They're from you. Not only that, I could teach you something,
What
right?
about people that really trigger you though? Like
That's
how
the
do you
biggest, that's the,
how does I know, but how does Ralph Sledge deal with difficult people? I could tell you, I could have a whole podcast on how
yeah,
I deal with
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But how do you deal with difficult people?
And that's changed over the last, like, maybe year and a half, but I understand that life is a real-time mirror. It's letting me know about myself in real time, right? So the difficult person, it's not about that person, it's about how I perceive that person, right? And if you wake up in a certain state, let's say you wake up angry, right? Everything in your environment somehow is going to make you angry, right? It's because that's the state that we're moving in. If I'm jovial, I'm upbeat, I'm happy, it's going to be very hard for me to come into contact with something that can take me out of that, right? I'm going to find more happiness because that's the lens that I'm looking through, right? And so now I just understand, like, when things happen or if somebody is triggering me, I immediately point the finger at myself, right? It's not about them. They did exactly what they were what they were supposed to do. That's who they are. That's how they were raised. Everything about what they did was supposed to come from them. Right now, my issue is, why did I respond to it like that? And so immediately when anything happens, I understand that I am producing that. Right. So if I had somebody come up to me and say, "Hey, man, I read your book. It was amazing. It changed my life," right? I understand that that's a byproduct of how I feel about myself, right? That's God, that's the universe giving me a kudos, right? It's saying, "Hey, you feel good about the book that you wrote, and here, I'm going to let you know that you feel good about it by sending this person to tell you," right?
Right,
And vice versa. Like, "Hey, you woke up in judgment today," right? And so somebody's going to come and present something that I can judge them about or judge them for, right? And so once you understand that the trigger is happening to let you know where you are in real time, then it kind of it turns the volume down on everything outside, right? And now it's no longer a, this person did this to me, this person put me in this state, this person made me mad. No, they didn't make you mad. You were already mad, and they were just coming to let you know that you were mad so that
right,
you
right,
was correct in real time.
right. Did you read The World is a Mirror, that book?
I haven't.
Okay. Well, you pretty much like summed it up, but that was a great book. I don't think it's online. You will have to purchase it, but it's a good read. It talks
I think
about
you're the second person that has mentioned that book. So it might, again, that's my mirror.
oh,
Right? It
there
might
you
be,
go.
yeah.
Yeah, I finished it on the plane ride back home. I literally finished it and I left it there on the airplane seat. And I noticed when I got home, I was like, damn, my book. But I was like, Diana, you already finished it. So whoever like picks it up, it's a
Yeah,
gift to them. Like now they get to read about like world is a mirror. What the hell is
yeah,
that? It took me a while to understand that concept. I want
yeah,
to say like a good 2 years
yeah.
because when I first heard it, I was like, ain't no damn mirror. What the hell y'all
Right,
talking
right.
about? But once but once I started really like digging into the unknown because it felt a little foreign, but then I realized like even like affirming myself or giving myself like love and attention, like dating myself, that felt foreign. That felt weird.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
yeah,
well, that feels weird too, but I'm going to do it because I already know what it's like to do what I previously did. That ain't working. So let me try something new. Let me try the unknown. Let me try to, just be very loving towards myself. Very like, even the parts that I don't like about myself, I'm like, girl, you okay. You got it,
yeah.
But that felt foreign at first. But
And
I
it
was
felt
like,
foreign because you weren't used to loving yourself. That's why it felt foreign.
I thought I did, but I really didn't. Like,
Yeah,
not like not all the way, like,
Yeah. If you
and I
did, it
still
wouldn't felt
have,
right,
like,
though.
more to go because it's infinite, right? Like, that's the
Yeah,
spirit is infinite.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But again,
yeah.
triggers come in to let you know that you're not loving yourself, to let you
Yeah.
know that you're not in a posture of love. So yeah, there's layers. There's still some more there. If you leave this call and you immediately go judge somebody, then yeah, there's some love missing there.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you judge others because you judge yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Yes. So, what is next for Mr. Sledge, and where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm at Just Sledge on all social platforms. I got the book. I just released the second edition, so the second edition is there. Working on my second book called What the Morning Taught Me. So doing that, I'm also starting to be a growth companion for people, help walking with them and helping them uncover or discover the best version of themselves, right? So I'll walk with you while you figure that out and just, offer guidance, help you see things that you might not be able to see yourself. Again, that's what a mirror does, right? Let you know when you got food on your face because you can't see it yourself, right? I'll do that for you. So yeah, I have a link tree to my calendar. You can find that on the socials as well. I'm in the middle of producing a short film, so I'm doing that, writing another short film as well. So I'm a serial creative. I go where the wind takes me in my creative life. And so I'm always with an idea and always in the middle of a project, and just I'm here for expression, and that's what I'm planning to do, just express myself in any way, shape, or form.
I love it. I love it. What's the film about?
It's a coming of age father-son story. It's about a father helping his son with confidence and in turn finds his own confidence, right? And again, that's the mirror of life, right? Your son's not going to have confidence until you have confidence. You can't teach him confidence until you have confidence. So if you have confidence and you can now teach him confidence, then your mirror will start to show you your confidence back, right? Because then he'll be confident. And that was a result of you pouring your confidence into him. So it's one of those stories, right? But in this story, the dad gets overly confident, right? And ends up landing himself in his own predicament, right? And so just a lot. It's a lot of that going on. I wrote this a couple years ago, but even in that, you see the mirror playing out, right? And I didn't even know what a mirror was at that point, right? But it was all leading me here. But yeah, that's the basis of the story.
All the pieces are all coming together, I
Yep.
find, right?
Yep.
The more
All.
you like follow that path of your zone of genius, alignment, whatever you want to call it, there's so many names for it. Everything just starts to.
When you surrender, you understand that everything was just leading you to where you were going anyway.
That's another podcast. You see,
Yeah.
I'm already writing down. I definitely would love to have you back because we could talk for
We
hours,
can.
and we have, right? But with the coaching, right? Is that something that they schedule like a one-on-one? Do you do one-on-one or is it a group?
Yeah, so I do one-on-one. That's primarily it, right? Because I want everyone to be open to, feel comfortable, right? And sometimes we don't feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable in large crowds. So
Right.
primarily it's a one-on-one thing. My consultations are free, so you can go and 30 to 45 minutes. Let's figure out if we even have compatibility here. And I won't charge you for that because if not, you can go on your way. But I have drop-ins. You can come do a 45-minute drop-in. I have a 3-month foundation building that I want people to take before they can get me monthly because I want to set a foundation. I want to set a solid foundation. And then after you take that 3 month, then that opens up the door for you to just come and schedule monthly, right? And we'll
Okay.
do one call a week for a month, right? And you can do that as you see fit. There's no term, there's no 6 months that you need to do. It can just be 1 month here. You can take the next month off, come back the next month. However you want that. So yeah, that's how I have it set up now. And I'm just walking with people is very free form, right? You come in, you vent to me in the first 15 minutes. I listen to the words that, again, the words that you are using will tell me everything I need to know. And from there, I figure out how to guide you forward and we just go from there.
And you're still doing the podcast? Are you gonna come out with new episodes?
Yeah, so I did start a newsletter on Substack. It's called Notes from the Modern Heart. There is a free preview, but then there's an extended version for paid subscribers, right?
Okay.
And in there is where I will house all of my information, right? So I write an article. I have a podcast called Evening Epiphanies that you can get from there. Me and my wife do a segment called Couples Corner, right? Where we just have candid conversations, put it on there so you can be a fly in a wall to hear how we go about relating to one another. So that's on there. So everything that I offer in more detail, in more depth, you can find on Notes from the Modern Heart on Substack.
Oh wow. Okay, and that's linked in your like Instagram and Facebook
It's
and
in
all
the
that?
link. It's in the link.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
My
because
my
I
link
didn't know that.
my link tree is also just Sledge. So you can go on Linktree and just search just Sledge. Everything that you can find me on, it'll be at just Sledge.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you, Ralph, again. Like I
Yes.
said, we could stay on here forever, but I know we both have to go. But thank you for sharing your light, sharing your courage and your ideas with me, and just wanting to see the best for me, right? And
Always.
I truly appreciate I truly appreciate you. I'm not gonna cry, but thank you so much, Ralph, and I look forward to like having you back on,
Yeah.
and
Anytime.
we'll have
The
a
best
lot of episodes.
the best for you ultimately means that it's the best for me, right? If I can get you to your best, that means that I'm doing my best, right? And
Woo-hoo, that's right. We're winning here.
exactly.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. Make sure to check it out. It drops every Sunday, a new episode. And I look forward to seeing you guys again. So have a good one. Bye. Okay, let me call her. No, not right now. Why don't you take a shower? Play outside. What? Okay. Yo te vine ahora, voy a caminar a tu casa. Okay. Sí, está bien. The woman's gonna come and bring him. Yeah. Okay, yo te espero afuera en la esquina. Yo le espero. Okay. We can wait for him in the corner. That was fast. Oh, you didn't have a jacket, Matthew? Oh, man. Do you want to stay? Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you, Ruben. If you want, we could probably later on go outside if you guys can play and have to watch you guys. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll call her. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Matthew. No, no. We were gonna come get you. And I was dressed for the podcast. My podcast does. I'm sorry I didn't send you with a jacket. I didn't realize how. It's a little chilly. You can access mom so we can place her. Yeah. Now she's only watching this. Yeah, come on, listen. I mean, you can play. We can all play tag before we later on. Sure. Like in 2 o'clock. Two cabbies at night. It's the afternoon. It's the afternoon. It's a cabby.